countries. Iran and China rely on each other for, these oil markets so they can have that interaction. Of course, the US and China has an interesting relationship in terms of talks. The trade agreement was just able to be finalized a couple weeks ago that brought down our tariff rate on them to 55%. And the president has said that we have a relationship with them and are able to communicate well with China. If they'll actually listen to our calls for them to step in on Iran, though, is the big question of, if they're able to, or if they can be convinced by the US to try to get involved.
The U.S. involvement in the conflict between Israel and Iran has set off Trump ally Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene in a lengthy post on X. Greene saying, in part, foreign wars, regime change, and world peace is what people voted for. Going on to write, it feels like a complete bait and switch, calling Trump not a king. How much divide are we seeing in the Republican Party over the strikes?
Yeah, it's really fascinating, particularly a divide in the MAGA wing of the Republican Party. Of course, one of the main pillars, as Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene mentioned, that Trump ran on is this isolationist America First theory. And that's a lot of him promising to either get us out of global conflicts on day one, that included Ukraine and Russia as the war rages on months in, and to keep us out of global conflicts. That involves situations like this. So a lot of those MAGA voters who took his, America First agenda to heart, and that's one of the main reasons why they wanted to throw their support behind Trump, are feeling kind of disillusioned today and curious of why he felt the need to go into another conflict zone and get the U.S. involved with, what Israel and whoever else is doing abroad. We'll have to see if that, impacts support going forward, or if some of these supporters can be, talked down about how upset they were. I mean, that X post from the Congresswoman was pretty harsh, but I've talked to some folks in, more MAGA world who have said that if the president explains himself about why he chose to go in and how it's in the U.S. best interest, that they're hopeful that people will come around. But she seemed to have some pretty harsh words to say.
What kind of military response could we see from the U.S. if Iran follows through on its threat?
Yeah, it's interesting that seems like something that the U.S. is trying to just figure out ways to talk around having to threaten anything in terms of a military response because of what the implications of all of that is. So they're going towards deal making, getting back to the table to talk with Iran about the nuclear talks. Now, we have heard Vice President Vance say that there's no plans, for boots on the ground, that would be a situation that they don't want to find themselves in. And of course, there's the pressure from Trump supporters and the MAGA wing of the Republican Party, who boots on the ground would be a red line. So the president is definitely hearing all those pressures.
A rapidly developing story. Alex Ganchitano, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.